Cool.
Are you
yeah,
ready?
This is the intro. I forgot. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wasn't, but I am now.
Hey guys, John Clark from Private Practice Workshop. It's a really special day because I'm sitting down with fellow therapist, private practice consultant, and YouTuber Marie Fang, Dr. Marie Fang. She's a licensed psychologist out here in San Jose, California. And guess what? It's like 10 minutes from my in-laws' house. So I messaged Marie to say, hey, maybe coffee. And she said, hey, maybe coffee, maybe a collab video. And here we are doing a collab video. It's like when two famous rappers get together to do a collab in the studio. This is basically that.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. In this video, I'm going to be sitting down with Marie and asking her some heavy-hitting questions, some real juicy questions, kind of getting behind the scenes of what Marie's life and business have really been like, how she got here, what she's learned along the way, some of her most important tips that you can take and kind of integrate into what you're doing to make sure that you're as successful as you can be in your own private practice journey. We filmed 2 videos, so we've got this one here on my channel, and if you want to see me answering these same exact questions, you can go over to Marie's channel that we're going to link here if you want to see me answering these questions. All right, first question, Marie, you ready for it?
I'm ready, maybe.
Okay. If you weren't a therapist and money were no object, what would you do?
Yeah, when I was thinking of this question, I had so many different thoughts, but I remember back in college, there was this moment where I was working at a cafeteria and I realized I could be happy running a small business for the rest of my life. Like I really like management, and even in the cafeteria, I thought I could just work here as a manager forever and I'd be happy. That was a really fruitful realization.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't have to go to grad school.
So you mean if money were no object, you would manage a cafeteria?
Well, I would be a therapist, but if I couldn't be a therapist,
I see.
it doesn't have to be a cafeteria, but
Okay.
any type of small business. I really like encouraging other people to enjoy their jobs, like especially when it's like we're scraping the mold out of the bottom of the trash can. That's like the
Someone's
worst
gotta do
job. And so I had fun trying to make it a game so that people found a way to enjoy doing it, even though it sucks.
Do you think that would apply if you were to run a group practice?
You know, that's an interesting
I bet
question.
you have a video about that.
I've thought about whether I'd ever want to have a group practice, and I'm just not sure. Maybe like future me will watch this video and I'll have a group practice.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think I do like working by myself too. That sounds very contradictory. That I should work that out in a therapy session.
People are complicated. You know, we like what we like.
It could apply in a group practice. I do want to supervise someday, so I guess that is a group practice. Just to contradict myself again.
That's a good compromise, to be able to lead people and encourage them and help them grow, but not necessarily have them as employees. It could work.
It could work. TBD, we'll see. Future me will have to watch this video and see what happens.
All right, next one's a fun one. What is something that people would be really surprised to learn about you?
Okay, I'm not sure if this is like really surprised, but I think the extent that this is true about me is surprising.
Okay.
It's that
I'll temper my reaction.
Above anything else, above being a therapist or like making videos or whatever else I do, the thing that I am the most expert at in life is knitting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it. Wow, expert.
I knit this blanket.
Are you serious? I literally thought when I sat down, this is like a Pottery Barn something or other, because it's so nice. It's perfect. You guys can't even see the detail, but it's perfect.
I've showed it in videos before. I'm so proud of it. I knit this one. This one took me 4 years because I pick it up and put it down.
I don't think I've ever stuck with anything for 4 years.
Knitting is my jam.
Wow. All right, next question. Getting a little more serious now. How has failure set you up for later success?
I really like this question. I think, one, because failure is kind of my style. I tend to operate in a sort of trial and error method for doing things, which has pros and cons, and I think there's room for me to grow. One really big success that's come from that is actually like I've built all of private practice skills on this idea that I've made all these mistakes so that now you don't have to, hopefully. I can sort of just reveal the information behind the curtain so you don't have to do the trial and error. So that's been a big one. I also feel a sense of accomplishment too, of kind of like navigating through hard things. And I'm talking about like nitty gritty stuff like I'm trying to figure out how to make my own website on WordPress, and I've never done that before, and then my whole website shuts down, and now, clients can't find me, and as one of many examples. So I think those failures, though, really help shape shape my success in sort of learning, and also just being comfortable with failure is like part of the process.
What do you do, or how do you deal with it if you're you have a fear of something coming up, or potentially something going wrong? So kind of like not a failure, but a fear of something going wrong.
I'm all about kind of launching messy. So if I'm afraid it's going to fail, one thing I do like to do is I make a plan for if something fails, what then?
Yeah.
And sometimes it does modify my plan. Like, oh, if this doesn't work out, then that actually would be quite tragic. So if I'm just thinking of starting out private practice in San Jose, can I launch full time? That sounds really wonderful, but if it fails, actually, I don't know that it's worth the cost that it's going to be. Okay, so maybe I'm going to launch part time first, right? That type of thing. But I'm still going to do it. So I think maybe thinking of worst case scenario and kind of taking that feedback back in, but still finding a way to do it is probably the best way that I navigate my fear. And then just have a lot of people who care about me, like in the know about what I'm afraid of, and just like cheering me on constantly.
Yeah, just kind of like a fear setting in a way, right? Think of the worst that could happen and how would you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
And also have people to support you so that if you do have a setback, you've got help.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nice. All right, I got 2 more questions for you. The next one, what are some bad recommendations you hear from others in our profession?
Well, there are very many bad recommendations out there, and as a sort of teaser for the other video, John covers some really good ones. I'm not going to repeat those, but I will add to them. And one big one that came up a lot for me, especially, and I hear it from others, is that you have to accept insurance if you're going to be successful in private practice. And I hear that all the time, and I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing insurance, but it's not helpful to say that's the only option to do that. And I think that can be really detrimental and create a lot of fear, I think, for people too, to feel like, oh, I guess I have to.
On that same note, a lot of times therapists will get on an insurance panel in lieu of a marketing plan, right? Or, I'll get on an insurance panel because I just need some clients, and then later I'll get off the panel, and I think that's not the best approach.
Yeah.
Right. Also, what happens if the panel gets really saturated or something, and all of a sudden your marketing plan isn't working?
Yeah. I had a second one.
All right.
So this one I hear a lot as well. And that's like, if your practice isn't as full or as busy as you might like, that you need to go and get more certifications. And similar to the insurance thing, I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing certifications, but the role of certifications isn't a marketing strategy. The role of certifications is to be equipped to do your job well. But getting EMDR certified or making sure you're trained in this particular marital therapy strategy is not necessarily what potential clients are searching in Google and thinking like, oh, good, I found this, and growing your practice. There could be some exceptions, but if you're getting the certification just as a marketing strategy, I think that is more just tiring rather than adding anything.
Yeah. I also see a lot of therapists thinking, I can't, raise my fees, or I can't even be in private practice until I have X, Y, and Z certification, right? Or I can't call myself an expert until I have X, Y, and Z certification. Yes. So a lot of times getting more trainings or certifications can be a cover-up for kind of like imposter syndrome,
Absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes the trainings are so helpful, but a lot of times I think people pursue them in fear rather than like, ooh, I really want to grow in this, or I do want to become this expert in this thing, or whatever it might be.
All right, last one, and this is a fun one. What's one piece of advice that you would give every therapist just starting out in private practice?
I feel like there's so many pieces of advice, but also if I have to boil it down to just one piece of advice, I think it's most valuable to identify your core values as a person, like apart from running a business, and then allowing those core values to bleed into how you picture your business. Because if you're starting a business and you're just like throwing noodles at the wall and seeing what sticks, you might eventually kind of burn out, versus feeling like you can sort of focus on what matters most to you, and then the work that you're doing is feeding into these values and you're living them out in your business. I mean, that's so rewarding, and also less work, because you feel like, oh, I'm doing this thing that I'm so passionate about, and so there's a lot more energy and drive to lean into it. So I think there's many advantages to it, And I think a lot of people skip that because there's maybe more fear interrupting that freedom to think like, oh, I could do whatever I want with this business, and what is it that I care most about?
Do you have any exercises or something that people can do to start figuring out what are my values?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I love several of the ACT-based, or I think it's called ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy-based worksheets that are available out there. There's several exercises available through the ACT concept, the ACT theory, to help you identify your values and also to see where your behaviors are not aligned with your values, which I think is, I mean, I do it with clients all the time, but I find it really helpful for myself. So that's kind of an easy place to start, like one hand out to kind of get you far.
We talk a lot about creating congruence in our lives or our personal values, but we don't always think about and really infusing those into our business and into our plan for our business. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, this kind of behind-the-scenes interview with Marie Fang from Private Practice Skills. Again, check out her channel. We're going to link to it here. Head over there, check out all the amazing videos she has. Be sure to subscribe to her channel. Marie, anything else that people should know about you or what they should do next?
Yeah, come find me on YouTube or, privatepracticeskills.com.
There you have it. And you've got homework. Go check out Marie. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you soon. I have a really special video for you. That doesn't make sense because this is the video.
It is a special video.
This is the video.
We're in the video.
We filmed 2 videos. Why is this breaking my brain? Add me on Snapchat.
Call me later.
Call me later.
Yeah, TikTok. I don't have any of those things.
That's my next
I have a phone.
goal is TikTok.